Condors Esports is innovating intercollegiate gaming in Ontario and beyond. We've built a community where you can compete, play, and work in a dynamic program accessible from all campuses.
Condors Esports is more than just gaming. Here, you'll find empowerment and inspiration in state-of-the-art facilities equipped with latest technologies and unwavering support.
We are varsity athletes, turning victories into championships as high-performing gamers.
We are relentless, constantly pushing our limits and pursuing excellence through every match.
We are Condors. Gaming connects us on campus or online, all through best-in-class equipment.
We're building a foundation of experience, powered by our passion, and developing skills that drive personal and professional success.
We are eager students, transforming our dreams into careers in dynamic and emerging industries.
Condors Esports goes beyond gaming, fostering enduring friendships, unforgettable experiences, and meaningful connections.
This is your chance to transform your passion for video games, esports, and technology into something impactful. Learn how Conestoga is introducing Condors Esports to your campus and connect with fellow Condors striving to soar.
We
are Condors.
Hello and welcome to the Conestoga Condors Esports. It's a beautiful day for some League of Legends actions. A quick shout out to our partners, the Conestoga College itself, Conestoga Students Incorporated, Nike, and Six Sigma. I'm Curtis Cove Collings, alongside Brody Leaf Moore.
What's
Brody,
up?
I'm excited.
Are you really?
As excited as I can be
That's
for some League
true.
of Legends action.
Yeah, as you mentioned, today's some League of Legends. This will be very interesting. Again, we always like to take these for anyone watching with a little asterisk on the side disclaimer that, you know, when it comes to League of Legends knowledge, our pool will be a little limited here, but we've been talking to the players and getting as much knowledge as possible into this. We're just here to watch, hopefully another win here for the squad, and we at least can get excited around some dubs. That much I know I can promise you that I can do.
Well, yeah, the team 2-0 for a reason. They got some skills, but facing off against a really good opponent in Oakland University,
right?
They're also 2-0, so one of these teams will lose their first game of the season.
That's true. Well, what's interesting too is, I guess, we've seen this with some of the other squads, but in terms of the roster for these guys, I loved it. There's a couple familiar faces as we go into it, like Lopachinski, who we were talking to before, but a couple new players on the roster as well. And I've seen that in some of the other teams, the other Condors esports teams. It's not just League that we have coming in with some new players where there's a potentially a bit of that adjustment period when it comes to bringing these new players in. It's collegiate esports, right? You always have this high turnover here. But yeah, Corman and Reginald were the two new throwing on.
Speaking of the new players and just the roster at large, you can see them. They like to coordinate where they sit in the desks with where they play in the lanes. And so you got Reginald and Cornwall typically split time bot, and then Karami, who likes to be mid. You got Lopachinski that jungles pretty much everywhere. Like the one matchup I saw, he was definitely a big difference maker. And then Lazaro on the end there, who is the top laner and has a tall order tonight.
No, you bring up a good point. You know, we've been informed that his opponent up in top is a little bit of a beefy boy and one of the like a top player in the world right now. So this is going to be a little bit difficult. A tall task, as you said, but they've been planning for this, right? They have realized the order in front of them, the mountain that they need to climb, and they've been making a game plan around it. And by the sounds of it, they're relatively confident of it. Of course, we'll talk about it in a little bit once the match goes, just in case anyone sneaky is listening and trying to know what's going on here. We got the scoop. We'll give it to you later. But you mentioned before that they're doing pretty well.
Oh, yeah. You get to look at the group here for the NACE Varsity Premier First Division, and a matchup between the first and second seeds. Neither team to get a loss. I mean, Northeastern University also without a loss too, but only playing the one matchup so far. And then, yeah, we got a big matchup here, and congratulations to our production team. We've finally extended our bracket out to 9 teams, so we don't have to memorize the last team anymore.
You don't know what we had to do. There was so many sacrifices.
Rest in peace, our noble soldiers.
Just don't look in the corner over there. Keep the closet doors closed.
But yeah, a big matchup, and should be a barn burner here between the first and second seeds. And not to, disparage ourselves, we are facing a top 100 player, but we have one our own. Our mid laner, Karami, was in the top 100 rankings last season. So that's going to be what we look for today. And Conestoga has strategies. I mean, they spent, I think, all yesterday even preparing for this matchup.
Well, again, we'll talk about those a little bit, just a little bit of insight once the match gets going. But for now, their job at this point, since they've done so much prep, is getting themselves in the right mental game. And I mean, you see some good laughs coming up from the squad. It looks like they're in a good spot, but sometimes those can be nervous laughs. You're coming into a matchup that is supposedly even. You got a top 100 on mid. They got a top 100 on top. Who's and how is the strategy for your opponents going to come out, really? Because are they countering your good player? Are they looking to support their best player? Or are they trying to balance that other half of the field that may be their weak spot? And really for the players, that's going to be what it is coming into it. They don't know until the match starts up and starts going. So for now, as I mentioned, a lot of it's about that mental game and just saying, hey, we got this.
Well, it was described as a team chess game, and I don't think there's any better way to describe it. And there's so many additional strategies where you mentioned like 3 or 4 different things that they could do, and there's still 7 other strategies that they could bust out that the Condors aren't prepared for. But knowing the guys and knowing our coaching staff here at Conestoga, I'm pretty confident. I mean, they were saying they were doing mock drafts for what the enemies could play and preparing for everything, strong sides, weak sides, and they don't fully know. I mean, the enemy could go all in one direction. They could go full support on that top lane and just completely ambush Conestoga, who we've been told is going to try to just mediate that position and just hold on for life while they attack other areas.
Yeah, you can always plan for a million things. There's always the potential of just a surprise pick or a surprise ban from your opponents. I mean, they come in knowing which are high priority, which are low priority. There's a chance the opponents throw that out the window and try something new today. Likely not. Both these squads sitting at 2-0 are probably going to want to extend their lead in the group, make sure they're only one at a 3-0, because by the end of this, one of these squads will be. So they're probably going to play their game plan, and I think Condors are very safe to bet that this is going to be the matchup that they expect. Things aren't going to be too out there. So yeah, that planning, the prep that they did early on is very likely going to come in handy. But then it does come down to mechanics as well. It comes down to how you actually execute. I mean, if you're missing any of your last hits here and there, you're a little bit of a gold trailing behind in that early game, and you can't catch that back up, that could snowball later on. So the mechanics of it as well, how you execute, just as important as that prep.
Well, exactly. And it's a skill game. It's a skill game just as much as an FPS is at the end of the day, knowing what buttons to hit at what time and just going at the speed of light and communicating with your teammates what you're doing when you're doing it. A big thing that we were told is that gold advantage is paramount for success.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so that's going to be the number one thing we look for, and that's the number one thing that they had going for them in their first week matchup when they did win and some pretty decisive matches. And so the biggest thing that they're going to need to carry into them with this game is confidence and self-assurance that they are a good team. There's a reason why they're at the top of the bracket.
Well, I think they are. I mean, again, whether it's nervous or not, the smiles are there. Lopachinski is a guy you want to have at the head of your team. I mean, I love talking about this guy because he's a leader. He's confident. When he was talking to us before, he was easy to talk to. There was never a single hint of condescension in his voice, when he knows that even us as commentators are coming into this a little fresh when it comes to the knowledge of this. And he likes to cater to that, and he makes sure that everyone around him is comfortable, and that's going to be his squad as well. I mean, obviously in comms, we don't hear that. Maybe the story is different. Maybe he's a monster and a terrible human being. I just highly doubt that.
The smiles that are on display on the desk would say otherwise, and how often he's there for his teammates from the jungle positions and ganking and just giving them a man advantage. I mean, the guys better like him. I mean, he does so much for him, and he's very often the difference maker. And as I said earlier, it is a chess match, and if you can have more pieces to one side, that's a huge advantage, and without sacrificing any plays. As we look to enter the ban phase here, and these are very, very strategic and thought out. They've been planning this for over an hour.
Well, the thing is, so I guess we can start talking about this a little bit. The hard thing is that if the names don't pop up, I'm not going to, I don't know the faces of all of them.
For the bands in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, but the biggest thing for them is they said there's a few characters for both squads that were high priority, Ziggs being one. They're also looking to Jinx high priority and potentially a Vi there for Lopachinski himself. So the thing is either Ziggs is going to get banned immediately because they know it's high priority for both teams, or you'll see one of the squads hoping to be able to nab him.
Yeah, same with Vi. That's the same story that we were given for them to a priority champ, and we'll have to see how it plays out here as we are just getting down to the red band phase here as we wait to see the picks. The picks are the real exciting part, in my opinion, but some things to look for the Conestoga squad are an AD skirmish jungler for Lopachinski and a AP champ mid for Rami, and that's what they're going to be looking to secure their picks with after the ban phase ends, as the first pick is in, and of course it's Ziggs. It had to be.
And that's, again, that's good. I mean, the fact that it ended up on the Condor side as well is a wonderful start. Obviously, things can change going down. Maybe the rest of the picks completely do not hit any of their priorities that they wanted to hit. The good thing is that I know, at least for Lopachinski himself, there's a lot of versatility. That's going to come with Krami as well. I mean, a top player is going to be versatile when it comes to being able to play on different champs outside the one you really want to get in this matchup. But just because you can play other champs, do those champs that you end up getting match up well against what your opponents pick.
Well, exactly. And when you're in a top matchup, you want to be playing your top characters. You can't be giving any disadvantages away to the other team, as the Oakland squad picked Amumu and Kaisai with their back-to-back picks, and the Condors came over, and it looks like Rel was or is being locked in. But again, lots of discussion, as this is where the theoretical games come in, as Wukong is the third character for the Condor side.
Yeah, well, this is the thing for Lopachinski. He said, today either a Vi or a Wukong. Wukong was definitely on the table for him coming into this, so the mental was there at least. At least that prep work is not going out the window.
Yeah, as now we see, I think, 2 more ban phases here for the final 2 characters, OEU. The big stories here as we get to the bomb, and as we start to see more of the support characters, is if Braum is going to get banned or if we're going to be able to play as him. That's going to be big for the Reginald. I'm pretty sure at the bottom there, as he and Korm are going to beat the bot laners.
Well, that's the thing, is that between the two of them, they're the 2 newest to this. I think they have full confidence. I mean, you have to. The squad's already 2-0 when it comes to league play. And so obviously there's something going well with these 2 squads. But you also want those 2 new players to be in the most comfortable environment possible. So if they can get the picks that they really are looking forward to, that's definitely a priority, I think, for the rest of the team. Lopachinski, Krami, they can float around whatever they need to. They'll be versatile. And not that these other 2 in bot can't, but let's give them the most confidence going into this as possible.
Have them be their preferred characters. And I mean, I can't remember what they played in the first 2 weeks. I mean, I will come out and admit it, like a 2013 internet man, I am a noob. Absolutely through and through, N00B. But I know for a fact that my week that I did commentary, that Korm was excellent in one of his first games with the team. I think his first game ever with the team that was like official and not a scrim. And the big story of the game that Willow and I ended up discussing amongst each other was just how good Korm ended up playing. And he went on a few kill streaks, and that was the big thing that we were told, is that gold advantage is big, and making sure that, well, actually, no, it was that deaths are not as important as you'd think, so
Yes.
long as the death is for something.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about that's going back to the old chess talk. And I don't see any big mustaches down in the bottom there. So I think Braum is free to go when it comes to picks.
And we'll have to see, though, as OU does get the first pick after the ban phase.
But back to the chess thing is, oh yeah, the Corky. Okay, different mustache.
Different, yeah, a glorious one.
We're looking for a different mustache on our side. But yeah, back to the chess thing is that it really is about trading value. I mean, in chess, there's certain pieces that are more valuable than others. So sure, you lose 2 pawns, but did you get a rook out of it? And that's the value that you're going to be looking for. And for these guys, if they lose a little bit of a team fight, did they drop a couple towers in the meantime? Sure, absolute value there.
Yeah. And the biggest difference between an actual chess game and what this is just how important having vision on the enemy is. Whereas in a chess game, you can always be seeing the opponents. But in this, something that we see commonly is 5 rush to the middle, where they just kind of stare at each other, have a little dance party, and then immediately hide and look to strike. As it doesn't look like the Condors are going to be picking Braum at all.
No, Annie and Camille come out as their last 2 picks. I guess we'll find out what Oakland ends up dropping as their final. And then we'll be one step closer to getting into the matchup. But yeah, it'll be intriguing now to see how that bot lane works out. You see, again, for our new 2 new players, we have some looks of some quizzical looks, I guess, on their faces.
Lots of thinking, lots of the hamster running as fast as it can on the wheel.
Vladimir
Gets picked for the OU squad as all of the champions are locked and ready to go.
Valorant.
I know. Same company, at least.
That's
my only saving grace.
At least you kept it in the family.
That's my only saving. I didn't call them operators. I didn't go the siege route. Thank goodness. But yeah, we are one step closer to getting into our League of Legends actions as I'm looking forward to it. I think League is a shockingly fun game, and I'm juiced. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited just to see how this goes. Again, for me, this is a new experience. It's wonderful. I've played a couple games and I've watched a couple games. It doesn't necessarily mean that I knew what was going on the entirety of that time. So this will, in terms of excitement, yes, I'm also excited here. Also excited just for the squad. As I mentioned, the best thing we can still do for you guys is get hype when they start taking leads and eventually with some dubs, because I'd like to see the squad go 3-0. I mean, that you always like to see the people you're cheering for start winning.
Well, yeah, my biggest MO is to treat the players like the stars they are. Because compared to me and you, if we were to face off against them, we'd get dumpstered. And so this game is going to look close, but to the average person, there's levels to it like you wouldn't believe.
I hope it doesn't look close. I hope this is just let's do it. Done.
Hey, that would be slay the beast and get it out of the way.
It's not going to happen. They have a top 100 player. So do we. I mean, maybe it cancels out, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a reason Oakland is sitting also at a 2-0 in league play right now. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what opponents they played throughout the rest of this. There's a possibility that those opponents were bad teams, and now when they come up with a team that can actually challenge them, they might crumble. They might not know what to expect here, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. It did seem, though, overall, Lopaczynski, when we were talking to him, did feel confident. I said, so do we feel like this is going to be a tough battle or it's going to be close? And he's like, no, I think this is going to be good for us. Like, he didn't feel, and he's been honest before in matchups where they knew it might not go their way. And this one, he didn't say that. He said, I have confidence.
I've been told flat out that on paper this is a good matchup for us, and I did not get one of those today. It's definitely going to be a lot closer than some matchups before. And the first week, the 2 games went 26 minutes and 21 minutes. Do not expect that. Do not expect that today. We're going to have some grinds and hopefully a lot of really fun plays. Hopefully it's not boring League, but I don't really know the but I'll be honest.
I thought those were the same words. Oh, I shouldn't do that when I'm about to cast the game.
Some people upset at us before we even go on. But the biggest thing is just respecting the players' skills, and it's just like how good they are at this game. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to appreciate. It's the same with Rocket League. It's the same as Valorant, where it's like I will never be able to aim that good. I will never be able to do the flips that they do. And
not with that attitude.
I mean, it's going to take me thousands of hours, I feel like. These guys put in the dedication and the hours. Like, there's a reason why there are Conestoga Condors players. There's a reason why they represent the school.
And as we mentioned before, quick bits just to want to reiterate that both teams 2-0. And someone is going to drop the game today, we can't end with a tied series.
No, we cannot,
I mean,
as it's a best of 3.
I suppose if all the players stood up and stopped moving. Actually,
I think
the minions.
Yeah,
could
whoever has
eventually
the
take
side
over.
advantage and
Yeah.
their minions would win the game for them.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I mean, unless someone pauses the game and doesn't unpause it, yeah, we're not going to end up with it.
Eternal bathroom breaks for the tie, and we say, you know what? Let's just take our point. No, I'm not a fan of pity points personally. I think ties are like kissing your sister. On one hand, you're kissing someone. On the other hand, it's
You
your
don't really
sister.
want to be there.
Exactly. So let's not hope for a tie. Let's hope for some dubs here. I got confidence in our Conestoga Condors.
Why is that? Surprisingly, that is not the first time that someone on commentary of esports has said that.
It's a common phrase. I like busting out the old dadisms, as I like to call them. I'm a big fan of the old, kill two birds with one stone type metaphors.
Yeah, I think the phrasing I heard for the other one was, it's like kissing your sister. You don't really want to be there, just for an awkward situation that was happening in the game.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like on one hand, you're getting to make out. On the other hand, no, it's your sister.
All right, enough of this.
Yeah, no more talk about that. Let's get off that.
Enough of that.
Too bad. As about 2 minutes until our game starts up.
Yeah. We gotta wait because we're not cool enough. We don't get to watch the game start. We gotta wait so that we can't give them secret information. So yeah, we gotta wait just a little bit for that replay to catch up. But once it starts again, hopefully they're already in it and feeling confident and working their lanes. But I think you're right. This will be a relatively close series just based off the inherent skill level across both squads. I mean, when you get a top 100 team on any squad, there's going to be that trickle-down effect, trickle-down economics that knowledge is going to be able to spread across. The good thing about something like League of Legends is that there's a lot of information outside of the mechanics itself that you can go in to already set yourself ahead. And if our, fearsome opponent in top lane is communicating properly and sharing the information with the squad, there's going to be just an inherent level of, I guess, foundational knowledge that they can push themselves up a few tiers. It's like in Smash Bros. The second you know how to wave dash and use it properly, you instantly stair-step jump in skill level above so many other players. So same with here, if you have that knowledge, you can enter into a game, even without the mechanics, just a little bit ahead.
And that's the biggest thing too, is that the pure knowledge, the ability to share knowledge amongst every single player, and the advantage that we have, and Oakland in the same vein of having that top 100 players to give the knowledge and spread it around and share it, especially to the new players, and how they can work together as a team. As we were told that they do have a strong triangle of action that they'll do with the champions, and they're not foregoing their new players, but they're definitely incorporating them more slowly into their major gameplay.
Well, I do feel a little bad for Lazaro because, again, he goes up against the top 100 player in top lane. And the game plan today does feel like, especially from the picks, that they really are going to focus on that bottom triangle, trying to make sure, okay, let's take the area that we know we're going to have a little bit of an advantage on and try to steamroll that area. So they're going to focus on that mid-jungle butt, see if they can have that be their push. They don't want to give up too much, obviously, on top lane, so I think it's definitely going to be up to Lopachinski to really make sure that he's managing his time on who he's sharing with. He wants to make sure that mid and bot start getting the pushes that they need, but you also have to make sure that your top lane doesn't start getting too far behind, that later on your opponents can just jump over and start steamrolling that. So Lopachinski has a good amount of work on his hands today to make sure he's supporting the right people at the right time.
Yeah, lots of responsibility on his shoulders, but that's what happens when you are the major jungler and one of the better junglers, and I feel like all of the NACE Varsity Premier Division as hopping into the game here.
Big praise.
Oh, I would like to say so, because he's done some big things, and a lot of the fights that I've seen in my experience casting, he was the difference maker in a lot of them, where a lot of the guys are very efficient at getting their initial fights off, but he's the difference maker.
You already see it right now. He's just supporting around mid, trying to just posture, poke back a little bit, say, don't you try to get handsy on my mid lane here. We want to make sure that space is still given, that respect is given to them. So Lopachinski also just making his appearance known to the opponents.
Exactly. Putting a little bit of fear in their hearts, as quickly running down the Oakland roster. Wazek, it looks like, what's that, Beansap, Hemap,
Bemsap.
Bully You, and Shaggy for the opposing side here today. As we are 2 minutes into action here, minions have spawned, and we're getting our initial advantages as some bot lane moving forward immediately. There's Reginald putting in some work.
Yeah, again, this is just a lot of back and forth. You want that ADC getting those last hits, get that nice bit of gold advantage so they can scale up really nicely in that late game. Just a lot of back and forth, some pokes.
Now, we both do have an advantage. We have quite enjoyed Deadlock, and it's Valve's equivalent of League of Legends. I would say a baby of Fortnite and League.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly fun. A little different, but a lot of the same things carry over.
I mean, it is inherently a MOBA, so there's going to be some sort of skill transfer. But there's a lot more rigidity and structure to something like League of Legends in terms of what you should be doing at what points in the game and where you're positioned. I mean, you don't have that ability to speed across the map as quickly. I mean, until you start getting some speed items as well in the game.
Exactly.
But strong push right now on that top lane. Look at that tower already starting to get pushed up on by that top 100. Wazek, again, that player that we said we really want to watch out for.
Yeah, Lazaro just losing that minion advantage early on there as, Wazek just has the ability to just clear up minions and make it seem like it's unfair. As Lazaro, though, is pushing back and trying to maintain position.
Some back and forth on gold right now, still relatively even. You're not going to see that real big gap start to happen until a little bit later, maybe after a first team fight. A little bit of aggression now going on bot lane as we do see Oakland starting to make a little bit of push. They got a good bit of minion count. There's going to be a bit of trouble, though, for Bully, and that's going to be a 1-1, a little bit of a trade there. Not too shabby. Battle not over yet. We might be able to get Shaggy out, though.
Yeah, Lopaczynski, the jungler, coming over, making a big difference there as the 2v2 was not going in Condors' way. Lopaczynski comes over and ensures that the trade is good. But Lazaro taking big damage on that top lane. A real big extension there. Benazap going in there, getting the kill.
And this is what we were just talking about moments before. It's up to Lopaczynski to really choose those battles. Where does he want to support? Right now, he said, let's get that support for bot lane. You want ADC starting to scale up late. They had a feeling that top lane was going to be trouble anyways, so I feel like a little bit of a loss in terms of lane on top lane isn't going to be too troublesome for them. I don't think they're that stressed about it as long as they won that fight down on bot.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what their game plan was, and the part of the chess game that we're seeing live happening is losing that member might not be the worst thing in the world as they're making some good pushing into the tower on bot lane, middle lane. As Korm now getting pushed back to his tower, having the Reginald come back in through jungle to give some support as we'll see if they can counter push here. Because the minions are coming up now on bot lane, so going to the jungle, they're going to be looking, no items have been grabbed, Void Grub's still alive, which typically that's the first thing you see go. As we did discuss with the team beforehand that dragons were going to be the main focus of the Connoisseur squad to prioritize in jungles to give them the advantages.
Again, right now, it's just making sure no one's getting too frisky. It'll be Lopaczynski just making sure the lanes are balanced as much as possible before the team starts going for that stuff. You see maybe a potential fight down mid here. This is probably not going to be the Condors. No, never mind. We got a 4v3.
There's a lot of damage going out there. Benazap taking big damage as Karami gets the first kill of the big 4v3 battle, and there's the main advantage game that Conestoga likes to prioritize, having Lopaczynski come over to the jungle, give the support, and there's another kill there. The Reginald has come all the way up to mid to give some support. Lopaczynski and Karami are hurt, though, as Hemsap is trying to chase them away as we cut back over to top lane, and Lazaro making some good distance here on that top tower, on the top 100 player.
Hey, this isn't too bad at all, and I wonder where Lopaczynski's going to end up if he's going to go support top here, because that mid battle was wonderful for the Condors, putting them at a 4-2 count in terms of team kills.
And if you look up at the gold counter, we almost have a 1K advantage, and that's going to be crucial to look at in the early goings of this one. The next 4 minutes are going to be huge for who can get that gold advantage first.
Oh, another bit of poking going down on bot there, and again, it's that top lane that we were really interested to see how that goes back and forth. If Lazaro can have kind of the time of his life If he can push that, this is going to be a wonderful day. So I'm super excited to see that Lazaro is at least still holding his own, even after that first death that he garnered.
Yep, and we've now seen it twice that Korpachinski coming over from mid to give some support, but on the bot lane here, a little bit of damage being taken and retreating needing to be done, but smart League of Legends to get out of there, channel back to spawn and regroup.
Big thing is you don't want those towers going down. Again, Lazaro holding off all right, but he's starting to get a little overwhelmed. I wonder if we're going to see Pachinski make his way over there, or if he's just going to let bygones be bygones.
And it looks like on the mini-map, no one coming over for the support and the minion advantage. Not in the favor of any Conestoga side right now, as Wizek is definitely putting pressure on that tower.
Yeah, and again, we had a feeling this could end up being the result here.
Big damage on both sides, though. Both members of either squad on half health, but Wizek gets the kill there, making good use of the character's abilities. That was ranged, as you know it, and did so much damage just in the blink of an eye, and that's the difference between what a top 100 player is and just a normal, very good player.
Again, that bot side, really where the Condors are trying to focus. Mid lane making a little bit of progress. Probably won't last for too long, but if Lopachinski can...
Yeah, it looks like he's coming
there.
up
Yep.
through jungle to make some advances as the jungling members of OU getting some work done in. As we've kind of reached a more of a slowdown here, waiting for minions, waiting for action to arise, and this is where they're definitely discussing a lot, and this is where comms between the team members come in, as do they change strategies up? Do they continue with what they're doing? How confident are they with the current look at the game? And if I'm Conestoga, they lost the gold advantage. We're tied back up, almost 14K apiece.
Honestly, that early lead for gold isn't going to mean too much. I mean, a team fight can turn around at any moment. Your jungler
has more
can
big
start
damage
ranking
on
some
the top
work,
lane.
and lead can easily be lost.
Wizek chasing down Lazaro a lot, but Lazaro going right for him. The aggression on display from the top lane of Conestoga, getting 2 bot waves to come over and potentially get some help. Minions are going to be very crucial for Conestoga.
And again, only a 1-kill advantage, which, as you heard Lopachinski talking about before, not a significant teller when it comes to who's starting to gain advantage. Lots of back and forth. Honestly, very, very close matchup, and you like to see it too. This is what we wanted coming into this, is to have a good match. Regardless of what you're watching, regardless of the skill level of any piece of entertainment, you want to have a nice close series.
And you always want to see the best of the best fight each other, and the best of the best coming out on display there. Lopachinski just coming out to get a massive kill, and that looked like exactly what Conestoga needed. As he's back battling in jungle lanes as they have support of the Mega Minion there.
Hey, I see that channel out. Wonder if they're going to tag him. No, they decide him to let him go away. He'll channel back. That's going to give him a lot of space at mid. They can start getting a little bit of advantage, a little bit of tower damage, just to set themselves at a bit of an advantage going forward. Top lane, again, still holding on relatively all right. I imagine another push is probably going to come soon, though.
Yeah, you'd have to think so, as the bottom lane also had 2 members down there against our 1, but here we see Lazaro and Wizek in another boxing match again, as everything going down. Both sides have been coming over his mission ult, and Lopachinski for help. Wizek did slay Lazaro, but Conestoga has a big chance to get a big trade-off here.
Yeah, they're looking for it again. Honestly, from my perspective, this should be a win on this fight, and that's massive if they can shut down Wizek in that top lane, but he does have support coming in now, and they're going to have to split up. This could definitely be troublesome for the Condors if that's what happens. There's a third player making their way in, not looking good for the Condors. What a turnaround. And this is the difference between a top 100 player in top and a not top 100 player. The hold off until your teammates could support you, massive.
How he survived, how Wizek survived getting cornered there, I won't know. And I could tell you in 100 attempts, I would never be able to do anything close to that, as the support coming in from the OU side was exactly in time. The clutchness on that.
And this is just great comms as well. The knowledge. I mentioned it just a moment before too, so I guess there's a little bit of insight that I may have.
Grub's going down to the red team, and Karami also going down Bulliu. Big fights happening here in the bot lane jungles. Korm getting a big slay there too, as everyone going down here. Bulliu, after getting the kill dead, Korm taking massive damage as he goes down to Hensap, but you got other team members here of Conestoga, the Reginald at low health too, and Lopaczynski at full. Reginald ducking out of there as lots of things going down, but Lopaczynski continues the fight. He does not want to disengage, but taking big damage will force him out of there. Conestoga getting a trade-off, Korm and Bulliu going down in the big fight.
As I was saying again, I expected a big push on that top lane. What I didn't expect is for it to end up snowballing into a map-wide, I guess, onslaught from the Oakland squad, and that's exactly what happened. Any advantage we may have had from the team fight before got erased almost immediately, and a lot of that came down to that top lane loss.
Yeah, and we're seeing ourselves in a similar position to the early game, but flipped on its head now as the Oklahoma squad has a 1K gold advantage and the 1 kill advantage. Conestoga's going to have to be battling their way back into this one, much like Oklahoma did earlier.
Yeah, top tower looking like it's not going to survive for too much longer. Wizek, again, proving to be a formidable opponent. The rest of the squad, honestly, not looking too shabby when it comes to comms. They're following up on each other's directions pretty significantly. At least he's got a bit of an even throw at mid. And that bot lane as well, still not doing too shabby.
Yeah, as we're almost 50 minutes in this one, 2 minutes away from the 15-minute mark, as big fights going down, and the first turret going down in the game, and Korm as well as the Reginalds also taking big damage from both Shaggy and Bulliu, getting a turret and getting the members. It actually was the top turret that went down, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, our bot lane getting significantly brutalized as top lane is also starting to make some moves for Oakland. And the Condors overall are starting to feel a little bit of pressure. That's going to give Oakland a slight upper hand as we move into that mid to late.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but Oakland has been taking out all of the jungle objectives, the Void Grubs, and now they got a Drake under their belt now. So it'll be interesting to see how the Conestoga squad can recover as another turret going down.
Now a significant gold lead as well for Oakland as they start to hit almost 4K ahead.
Yeah, yikes. Uh-oh. It's not what you'd like to see for the Conestoga squad, as they're definitely going to need to mount some strategies and maybe change something up here.
Again, I feel like everything snowballed ever since that fight in top.
Well, as you described it, a brutalizer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that was Zach. That experience coming through, the knowledge, the know-how, knowing what his opponents, the possibilities, again, of that jungler trying to come in and gank in the middle of that fight. I mean, all of that paid off for Wizek. And again, top lane having quite a significant advantage. Bot lane also feeling that pressure. Mid, the only one holding up, but we do see a little bit of a push from Oakland.
Yeah, big fight here in the mid lane as Korm coming over to help, as well as Reginald, I'm pretty sure, as we switch over to the top lane here to watch what Lazaro and Wizek are going on.
Yeah, that top lane is slowly but surely
they're getting closer and closer to the Nexus, as the breathing room for Conestoga is definitely getting tighter as that tower is taking big damage.
Yeah, that tower's going down any second now here.
As you're saying, the jungling has been very crucial, and that's been the biggest difference maker as the turret does go down. Early game, Conestoga definitely had the advantage, but there's an adjustment made.
Well, again, I think it was just the communications for Oakland to capitalize on that first win on top to then go take battle around bot lane.
This red team getting another objective down the Rift Herald now, as that's another advantage on their side.
It does feel like a snowball effect that really has not melted at all.
Gonna have a big team fight here as Bulliu goes down to Korm, and you got all 5 members of the Conestoga team here in the fight, it looks like, all in this mid lane. Wizek at low health, a lot of guys airborne as Bensmap going down, Shaggy at low health as well. The Conestoga squad also at low health here. Anything could go down as Wizek's on a rampage, but Benesap also going down. Everything going down here.
Oh my
Conestoga
God.
looking to get something. Triple kill. Oh, the original down, Korm down, Lopachinski down, Lazaro down, as that's the quadra kill. Karami, the only man standing.
I can't believe what I've just seen. That significantly hurts the Condors. A quadra kill coming out with Zek. An absolute monster, and I mean, that comes from his dominance in that top lane there. You do not want that top lane getting strong because they're going to start to be able to steamroll, and that's exactly what we just saw. Incredible play from Oakland, almost approaching, like an 8K gold lead at this point. This is starting to look a little dire.
It's getting a little out of hand here.
You talked about before maybe not seeing a 20 to 30 minute game, but at the rate we're looking now, I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah, I'm always one to admit when I'm wrong, and sadly it is looking that way. But I mean, you can never count out the Conestoga squad, as they do have these skills to make these types of comebacks, but it's definitely going to be tight, and the percentage chance of that happening definitely very low. But you got 3 Conestoga's members here all cornering Bully. His health draining fast and going down to Lopachinski, who's been securing the kills all game, has 3 under his belt.
Hey, a couple redemption kills is nice here and there. The problem is I still don't know if this is going to be enough. I mean, the turnaround, Lopachinski getting dinged up a little bit, and hopefully, again, they can at least make it out of the battle. The problem you never want to look into is losing a massive team fight and then immediately after losing another 3 players.
Yeah, which
I was worried about just there.
Well, something I talked about with the team before is that you will see aces happen, and not where one person gets every kill, but a team wipe. That will happen probably once per game, and the objective almost of League entirely is to be the team that gets the ace, is the team that does the team wiping, and that's what allows you to push in, and that's where Conestoga lost a lot of ground when we lost 4 members.
Another bit of a fight up in top. A poke and a prod. It looks like just feeling it out and trying to suss out whether they can start making a move. Here it is.
Yes, Lazaro getting jumped here in the middle lane.
Yeah, but we have 3 Condors hiding out in jungle, making their way in now. They'll be able to sideswipe. It does push Oakland off. They opt out of this battle, or at least for the moment being. If they can try to just snag one of those stragglers from the Condors, then they'll take that win. They'll put a good little push there just to keep Oakland at bay from that tower, but it looks like their efforts may have been in vain.
Yeah, no deaths yet, but a turret going down as they have made their way into the Nexus. As yes, we are not looking good right now. They're all the way in the Nexus, all 5 members of the squad here, as it's looking like some GGs are going to get thrown in the chat, unfortunately. As you're saying, the snowballing has just been outrageous in this one. When a team gets going, they don't stop, and the Inferno blazes now. Red team just taking every advantage they can get.
Wow, this is the thing. Inhibitor's down. Nexus will be soon after. But for the Condors, it really did feel like a couple good, smart plays that they were coordinating on. It was just done at the wrong time. Oakland had some answers for them. And, yeah, we know that game. Wizek is legendary. And he's been, honestly, Wizek has just been the absolute key player in this whole thing.
Respect is due where respect is earned, and he has definitely earned it from his performance in this one, and it's going to be something where Conestoga is going to have to focus a lot of their efforts on in this next game. Of course, it is a best-of-3 series.
I still do love the last throw there of Shade that a minion has destroyed your inhibitor. Oh, wasn't even one of the champs.
Just the kick him while he's down approach. Thanks, Riot, for adding that, of course. I mean, as you know from playing Deadlock, whenever you see the minion in the kill feed.
All of a sudden you hear there's an enemy on our base. You're like, no, there isn't. Oh, my God, there's 80 minions. But, yeah, no, that was bound to happen there. A bit of a steamroll. The capitalization from Oakland as well. There was no coming back for the Condors after that first loss on top lane. It genuinely felt like that was the catalyst that immediately turned into a bot lane battle that was lost for the Condors, and from there on out, the steam train was full of coal, and it did not stop.
And Conestoga unable to build off the hot start they got to the game, winning the first team battle, and just unable to recover after that, getting the initial gold lead, but ended up not being able to capitalize, and they're definitely going to have to change something up. Focus probably more on Wizek and countering how fast they got through top lane.
Well, again, the big things coming into this is going to be just is the champ pick that they're looking for. Sure, they had their options. They said, this is potentially where I want to go. Did that actually affect the fact that they didn't get every single one of the champs that they had mentioned they were looking for? Did that actually throw them off more than they thought they did? And are they going to be able to bounce back going forward?
Yeah, exactly. In my mind, the biggest thing to look out for as we head into our next game is going to be who plays as what champion and how effective they can be if they do switch roles. Well, not roles, but if they do switch champions.
I mean, I guess the question is, from your very experienced and knowledgeable brain of League of Legends, where did you feel like you saw some of that weakness? I mean, there's the obvious pain point of top lane, but it also did feel like maybe the jungling, the decisions of where the support was maybe wasn't in the right spot. And again, this is coming from someone that knows absolutely nothing.
Well, yeah, I use my sports brain to reflect onto esports, because you can make a lot of parallels. And in hockey especially, if you have one member on the ice who is not pulling their weight, you put someone with them that will support them. And I think Conestoga needs to really buckle down on their game of that top triangle and really solidify those positions. I saw a lot of times that maybe Lopachinski was going a little bit too low and supporting the bot lane, when I feel like Corm and Reginald, like they were taking damage, but they potentially didn't need the help. They could have just retreated and took their time, whereas Lopachinski could have continued to jungle up top and given that continuous support to the middle and top lane, because I felt like Middle was the best, I thought, of the entire game, and Karami is not the type of guy that would need that help, but a top 100 player on top lane, they got through it very quickly, and so you want to be able to put support up there, as you don't want to have that disadvantage.
The thing is that even when he did go up there to help out, it still did not work
the
out
numbers
for them.
game, the communication from the Oakland squad.
That turned out to be the point of no return, actually, after that loss. So it definitely will be interesting to see where I want to talk to them after and see, just because, again, maybe Lopachinski was down there because there were mistakes being made by your bot lane that we're just not aware of. Right? I mean, there's so many factors that can go into this that all we can do is speculate, and all we can do is watch our next map and see if they can turn things around.
Well, exactly. We were told it's a very theoretical game, and it is a best of 3, so this next match will be paramount, and we will see you guys in a few short messages.
Conestoga College is setting the stage for a new era in gaming. In 2025, we're opening a state-of-the-art esports venue, a premier facility for high-performing gamers in Canada.
In this 10,000 square foot facility, we're putting you in the center of the action. The facility will have 50 top-tier PC stations, 5 console stations, immersive VR stations, a team operations room, a full production suite, and a premier competition stage.
Esports is a rapidly evolving industry with global viewership of 532 million in 2022. This initiative goes beyond esports. It's also a platform for forging bonds, making memories, and creating connections.
Since 2020, Condors Esports continues to evolve, providing industry-leading facilities and experiences to the esports community.
Conestoga's esports venue expresses a sustainable and intentional future to compete, play, and work, all powered by gaming.
Esports is for everybody. That's what makes this so special, where there's not a lot of barrier to entry. It's, do you have a passion for gaming? That's all it really takes. There's so many different things involved in this. It really does take that full team to make a successful event run. And that's what this program does. You got the lighting going on, you got the video capture going on, you got the whole production crew that are packaging this all together, you have the shoutcasting that's happening. We want to be, that pinnacle for esports. We want students to come here, learn from industry best, and launch their careers in esports. You have that new arena that's being built. To have that investment through the college, it proves a lot we're invested in this. This can lead to something really big and something really neat and something that you're really invested in. It's a billion-dollar industry, and we really can't wait to see where this goes.
Hello, Condors esports fans, and our League of Legends group is here set to face off against the Oakland University in our second matchup. Unfortunately, we did lose the first one. I'm Curtis Cove Collings.
Hi.
Hello, and this is Brody Leafmore.
That's very true.
I would hope so.
It's an accurate statement.
It's not
and
live.
I will not deny it or bring you to court over it.
Thank goodness. If I did call you live, I might have gotten slapped in the face.
Yeah, so many people call me LiFX. Now production's calling me LiFX.
Production's
Don't
trying to
do
make
that.
us mad. But we are fastly approaching our second matchup against Oakland University, and they did give us the works in the first one. A quick matchup, sadly.
You called out that you don't expect. So we found out you have the commentator curse today, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
One person on broadcast will always have the commentator curse. It's you. So stop talking. Don't say anything that could turn into something bad for us. Don't say anything positive about us.
I will be as neutral as I get.
No, be as say very mean things to us.
Oh, they were just
like we're not going to lose it. We're not going to win.
I got to face the players after this.
No, but this is helping them. They know that you have the curse.
I feel by hatred.
Yes.
They thrive on negativity.
Well, they thrive knowing that you know that what you say will hurt them. So if you say the opposite, it counters the curse and makes them do well.
I see.
And they know that you're sacrificing your own.
My own
brand.
Exactly. Yes. I think I'm already sacrificing my own brand and making them upset by my lack of knowledge. So.
We're sacrificing our brands by casting League of Legends. Whether we knew it or not.
That's mean to the league community. I'm sorry, league community, for what we're doing to you right now. But, I mean, at least it's fun to watch. At least it's like the games are enjoyable, and I've been pleasantly surprised.
We joke, but again, it's fun to fun to watch the Condors win. Fortunately, they didn't do that before. It did feel like a steamroll. So coming to this next one, there's going to be some massive stuff. So I'm excited to see what changes are made once we get into the next picks, because for them, this didn't work.
Yep.
It felt like, I don't know if it was just unfamiliarity. I mean, we saw Lopachinski, again, one of the core pillars of this squad as the jungler, hopping around on the Wukong, but he also mentioned a couple other picks that he may have gone for here. So maybe that changes coming to the next one. Maybe it just wasn't feeling it. Or maybe it was that our ADC did need a little bit more help there, that we couldn't put that attention on top lane. When we did put that attention on top lane, it didn't go our way. It steamrolled from there on out. The snowball was falling down nearly a vertical mountain.
It was steep.
You weren't pushing that thing aside or out of the way without divine intervention.
Well, I'm going to be predicting a short game this time, and I don't know which side will win, but the biggest things to look
so that
for.
Means it's going to be a long one. He's got it, you know.
The biggest things to look for in this one will be Conestoga's ability to grab those jungle objectives, get the Void Grubs, get the Drakes, get the Dragons, because they didn't get a single one, it looked like, in that last game. And you're saying the snowball effect, and that's a direct causation for it.
Yeah, no, it definitely it was a few factors. There was just not one thing, and that's something that Oakland had that wider perspective of. You know, they knew coming into this that they had just a bigger picture in mind. And I feel like the Condors kind of got locked in and maybe zoned in a little bit too much.
Well, I completely agreed as we enter our band phase here. And I just want to give a quick shout out to our partners, the Conestoga College itself, the Conestoga Students Incorporated, as well as Six Sigma and Nike. Just a quick shout out to them. Thank you for partnering with us. As we got the first pick here for Oakland University, who are now the blue team, so don't let that confuse you. We have switched sides as Amumu, again, seeing them for the second time here.
Mm-hmm. And again, you see on our half there, the Ziggs ban.
Yeah.
So no Ziggs there, even though it was decision. We knew it was a high priority. We had one last turn, but obviously what we did last map didn't work. So there might be some drastic measures. And for us, if we decide, hey, we don't want that Zig, again, let's just get it out of there so that Oakland can't take it.
Well, exactly. As we're saying they make big changes, and we're already seeing it. Well, they did have a rel in the last matchup, so the same thing goes there. But K-Sai, someone that was on their team first, and they get the Jinx lock-in, who was a priority
for both squads, yeah. And which is obviously unfortunate. Although it was the Condors, if they didn't drop the ban on that earlier, maybe they were hoping to get the pick. Obviously, these other characters were a higher priority for the bans early on, so that Jinx does sneak through for Oakland.
Yeah, the last two picks there, Oakland University locking in Milo and Condors locking in Gnar. As we got our next ban phase going on here, it'll be interesting to see who gets banned and if we're going to get the same characters before. No Wukong yet, so we're yet to see what I think Korpushinsky's going to pick.
Yeah, but this is interesting too, because Oakland did have a Gnar ban on the map just before, so maybe they've again opted that, that's not going to be a problem for us, or maybe just thinking, hey, that's not going to be a Condors pick at all. But there is, obviously the Condors wanted it and maybe would have seen a Gnar in our previous map had it not been banned before.
Well, exactly. They noticed something changed for the Oakland University ban, and so they're going to try to exploit that new opening that has been created as Oakland University is set to make their final ban, and this is some of the most important moments of the entire matchup. Not even the gameplay, it's what we're seeing right now. Is this is when strategy gets laid down, and this is when they decide what they will be doing throughout the span of the matchup.
Well, I think there, if I'm not mistaken, a Vi ban as well.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, which it was something that, again, the Condors were looking forward to. I mean, the potential, especially for Lopachinski. You know, that's a character that he was hoping to lock in, and not anymore.
Yeah, missing out on, unfortunately. And I'm still not sure if I'm pretty sure Wukong's still on the board, but it's definitely gonna be something different going on. As shout out our producer on camera right now.
Oh, is it? Oh, there we. Oh, okay. Oh, this. Here we go.
Boy.
Addy with the strats. Let's go.
Oh, let's play by play. Addy going up to Lopachinski, walking away from the desk. He's running. He's in a sprint now. Little Addy play by play. Well, they can't hear us.
Well, I don't know. Is this? No, this isn't delayed. This is.
Oh, okay, good. I hope he sees that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that. I love it. Maybe the secret stats coming. He's like, all right, this is our pick. This is what we're going. It turns out Addy's actually just a secret League of Legends expert.
Yeah. He's not a CS pro like he claims to be.
He's been fooling us all along.
Ooh, and delivering secret strats as we're getting into our final picks here. Lilia for Conestoga and LeBlanc. And on the Oakland side, it's Galileo. And why do they put white text on a bright texture? I will never know.
Isn't that the best? Pantheon?
Pantheon.
Isn't that the greatest thing ever?
Oh, yes. I love
no drop shadow at all.
Just straight up white text on a monitor that is maybe at 720p.
If we had extensive knowledge of the game, this wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, this would be so easy.
Just look at the picture. Right?
Well, yeah, I got to give a quick shout out. So my brother, he played for the Academy Brock team, and
oh, really?
Imagine he was like I've tried to get him to coach me on it a few times, and it's just
he said you're hopeless.
In one ear, out the other. So with that, and then I've got one buddy in my friend group that we play games with, and he's got like over 2.5K hours, but he's given it up. Good for him.
Congratulations.
Yes,
very happy to hear from him.
Exactly. Round of applause. Big shout out to my buddy Aiden. So unfortunately, the people in my life that could teach me League of Legends are either in St. Catharines or have given up the lifestyle. I did text Yuri, our godfather here at the hub, it feels like. I texted him, tell me everything you know about League, please. And so I know I'm going to be doing a lot of studying over the weekend and throughout the week.
Yeah, did you know when I first got into this facility, I thought that was a window over there.
That's where that's actually that's where the players are.
I thought we were looking at the players.
That would be a cool setup. That would be pretty sick.
Just see our heads stick out.
Yeah. Hey guys, or they could hear like mumblings out the glass. They'd be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That might be what it looked like when we move into the brand new esports arena, which I am very, very excited about. As we've gotten constant advertisements for it, and every single time I see an advertisement, I'm like, oh, why isn't it ready yet? I want to be in there.
That stuff takes a lot of work.
Oh, I imagine. There's a reason why I'm talking to you and not working with my hands. Because I can't do it.
You're like, I ain't picking up a hammer.
Hey, I will say, please get it ready, but I cannot expect it at any time.
Yeah. Don't work harder.
I have no perception of how long that would take. Absolutely none.
They got their jugs of lime juice and ketchup.
Delicious. Do you think that's the new age of gamer fuel?
It's a secret sauce.
What is the weirdest thing you have seen consumed on stage in your years?
Oh.
Because I know for hockey, it's pickle juice.
Who was drinking pickle juice?
Like Coleman and a lot of the players on the Edmonton Oilers squad, because it helps with cramping. Oh. It's the same reason that a lot of older people drink apple cider vinegar shots.
Right.
Fun fact, little health tips with Curtis Cove Callings.
I guess I'll be there soon. I guess I'm over the hill now in terms of age. So
you don't look it. You don't look at day over 25.
But actually, yeah, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah,
that's actually really good. Yeah, what's the weirdest thing I've seen consumed on stage? That's really tough. I don't think. Well, the problem, at least in esports, is that a lot of times players are not allowed to bring food onto stage. They're just allowed their waters, and that's it. Yeah, waters with the labels off, or their massive big jugs they have on the floor, and that's it. So yeah, I haven't actually seen anyone
It could be. It could be a secret sauce that you never know.
That's true. It's Space Jam.
I'm gonna go up on the stage. I'm just gonna test each one. And I'll see what I'll tell you firsthand what's in there.
You're gonna get kicked out real quick. You just start drinking players' wines.
If I do it quietly enough. No, I don't.
There are like 80 cameras pointed at these players. Wow, how are you gonna do it quietly?
I'm sneaky.
Okay. Now I'll put $5 on to support this cause.
We'll start off with the players there playing League. You'll see me on the camera.
You just go in and hit all the PTZ cameras, smack them to the side real quick.
Oh, that's expensive. I'm going to get charged.
No, the analog stick, not the actual cameras. Move them all to the side so they can't see you.
As we are 20 seconds in, and the players are going to be getting distracted by hopping into the action. It's my time to strike, but...
Is that... distract. Okay, I was going to say, they're not really distracted. They're locked in, but distracted from watching you.
Distracted from my stealing attempts, of course.
Yes.
As we are getting so much closer to getting into our League of Legends action here, cutting back to the players. Of course, looking very locked in as this is do or die time. They can't afford to drop this one.
Yep. No, this, as you said, it's this or no go. They lose their 2-0. In the league right now, they are 2-0, but so are their opponents. Only one can walk out the other side victorious. What we saw earlier certainly, to me, looked like this might be done for. I mean, if it was a bit closer, if we had pushed that 30-minute mark, then I could say, okay, map number 2 could go in our favor. But at such a low...
I don't even know if we got past the 20-minute mark.
It's I think maybe just past, but that's what I'm saying. The fact that we didn't get over that 30-minute mark, to me, indicates that there's a larger systemic problem that was happening outside of just the champ picks. I could absolutely be wrong, and maybe there was just, hey, we know where the fundamental flaw came from. It was because of this pick. Let's not do that this time. But usually one small flaw like that at this level isn't going to end up causing a steamroll like that. It really did come down, in my opinion, to the experience of that WZEC player.
Yep, and something that I'm personally going to be looking for myself in this matchup is if they do get the early advantage again and if they're able to roll with that advantage. And if they do, it's a big if. It's a big if game. Oh wow, Reginald spreading it around.
Come on, Reginald, what are you doing?
It's a big if game, and what if they get an early start and like they did before and capitalize on that? The biggest thing I'll be looking for is, of course, those jungle opportunities to get those advantages with your statistics, your statistic buffs, and most importantly, minion buffs.
You know what's a statistic I want to know is when a bunch of esports players, or just players in general, that after they hit 50, I want to poll everyone's eyesight and then also find out what genres of game they play. Because I bet you FPS players have a higher degree of like a far vision loss.
Like their eyes deteriorate.
These are reasonable distances from the
monitors. My god, you're talking about like the classic stretch cam we used to have.
Yeah, it's just the FPS players. I'd be curious to see a study on that.
Well, you did the COD games, and I know that Willow Mute Chaos was telling me all about how we got a few forehead cams in that one too.
Yep.
And I'm very happy to see the comeback because I laugh every single time.
Yeah, no,
I love it.
It's just the trend with FPS players. They need to have that locked in. Where is my crosshair pointing?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
not these guys though. They need to see the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to be able to know what buttons they're pressing at what time to correspond with when their teammates are going to come in to support them, when the enemies are going to be making their attacks. It's a lot of counterplay action, and a lot of the matchups we saw is it looked like it was going to be a 3v2 against Conestoga, and then Conestoga had a fourth member come in, and so that's going to be the big thing to look for here is those comms, the team support, and how they can get around losing those team fights. Because that was big.
Well, the big thing is not losing the team fights. No.
That's crazy.
Realistically, it definitely is going to be, again, up to Lipachinski. He's got a hard role on his hands. At least from my perspective. He could easily come back and tell me later that it's not on him. But for me, he's got a difficult role of managing all of those lanes. I mean, especially with how long it takes to get from one side of the map to the other, you got to make sure that you're balancing your positioning very well while also trying to manage your own game. And I mean, you're looking, as you said, you're looking at those jungle objectives and making sure that other jungler is not trying to outstep you, because once you come into those team fights in the late game, you want to make sure that jungler and top are not going to do what they just did in that last one and overwhelm you significantly.
Well, yeah, something about Lopatinsky, he's pretty humble, so he would not admit it probably, but jungling, like, from my point of view, definitely looks like the thing I would least want to do. It looks like you definitely have the most pressure on, and you have to be the quarterback of your team. You have to be there in every position, calling up the shots for whoever needs it. And I'm sure that it's almost like a medic in any game that has a healer where everyone's asking for help. We need you here. We need you here. And
where's my heals?
Exactly.
Well, you just ran away from me, so.
And how you balance that, and in a game like this, it's more about how you get into the fights. And my biggest thing that I've been preaching is, yes, those objectives. What's going to get you those advantages that skills won't? Because from the first game, the skills.
Yeah, well,
they had it.
It felt all right for the first, 10, 12 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where we start to feel the overwhelming, just one or two miscalculations led to just an overwhelming end result. So if those calculations are mismade in map 2, granted, you have quite a different lineup going into this. I mean, the champ picks, well, we see a couple similar ones. Champ picks across the board are drastically different. That composition is going to change your approach to the game, and it's going to change how those team fights are engaged and how you go from there on out. So there's some knowledge you can bring through from one to the other, but when it comes to the champs, it's out the window in a fresh slate.
Yeah, and something that I look for when I do Valorant commentary and CSGO commentary is how different do they play? What did they, did they sacrifice one entire thing that they do? And because they're playing different champions, that might just be the case. And so that's what we're going to have to keep our eye on, is if this looks like a completely new game, and there's definitely a chance it could.
Yeah, well, again, the big thing is focusing on the support where the support needs to be. That jungler needs to make sure that they're coming out the other side of that 10, 15-minute mark stronger, while also not letting their teammates feel like they've been let down, or any single one of those lanes being pushed back too significantly deep, like we saw with our top lane and then a little bit on that bot.
And so here we jump into the game, a minute 30 already in, and we got our guys in the jungle. Reginald already taking a little bit of damage. Yes, the same team composition that we've already been knowing about. And remember, everyone at home, we have switched sides. The OKU side is blue, Conestoga is red. So whenever red team gets anything on the map, we celebrate that. Exactly.
Woo!
As we got a little bit of the early battles going on here on bot lane. Of course, the Reginald and Quorm, 2 peas in a pod, as per usual.
It's all about that mid lane, though. I mean, if we can get a nice, strong push from our mid, that's really going to put us in. That's the player I'm honestly looking forward to as well, is Karami. I mean, if he can get a good, solid strength around mid, that's going to give a lot more versatility for Lopatinsky to be able to be in a position like top. Give me uppies. Top lane, where we saw a lot of that pressure on Lazaro last map.
Well, something that you can directly contrast from games like Valorant and games like Counter-Strike is how important mid-control is for map freedom.
Oh, there's the swap. Okay. It's actually Karami playing top now.
Oh, wow. So
yeah,
putting the former top 100 players on each other. And yes, and that is a major change. And players playing out of position. And we'll see how Conestoga is able to react as. Yeah, go ahead. Karami has a bit of a health pinch.
We probably would have known that, too, if we had known the champs, because generally certain champs play certain lanes. If we had known that before, we would have known that earlier. But at least we could visually see that now. And that's a good call, because at least my analysis was somewhat on point before, that we did see that. I said that top lane feels like it started the snowball. So if they can stop that, it's going to give their other lanes and their other players a longer or a better chance of making it later into the game.
Yep, and the biggest thing is who's going to get that first tower and who can make distance off that is Conestoga getting the first blood of the game. Karami taking down Wazek. That's huge. That's a big start for them, and we'll see if it can lead to anything else, but it seems that we've reset a little bit here.
No, that's massive. As you just said, I think a nice early poke on Wazek just to make him rethink his life choices up to that point is really good, because you don't want that momentum carrying through from that last game of Wazek saying, hey, I'm good. and I know him good. You want him to maybe relax a little bit, and now this is going to make him say, oh, we actually have a challenge on hands now.
As here we see the first gank opportunity of the game for Lopachinski on bottom lane. The Reginald and Korm coming in to offer some support. Bully under half health now as both teams look to pull out, and they're still fighting on the top half of the map. That's Karami and Wazek going right back at it.
But this is good. You don't need to get those kills. You don't need to overcommit. All you want to do is start getting a little bit of pressure on that bot lane just to make those champs back off and know that, hey, they can't be playing for free.
And talking about a change of pace there on the top lane, Wazek was retreating back. Karami's been putting in work.
I am worried again. Well, it's Karami. Karami knows what he's doing up there as well. I was just worried about an overcommit, but I don't think we're going to see that. Lazaro working mid lane a little bit better than he was dealing with that top lane, but that was due to facing off against a top 100 player.
And look at this. This is exact opposite of what we see. It's Karami forcing him all the way to the tower, and Bully and Shaggy also back at their tower as some channeling happening from the bottom lane there. Conestoga taking their time to get back as we look at the gold, and it's really even. Conestoga slight advantage right now.
Love to see this push. I mean, obviously, overconfidence can get the better of the Condors if they start overcommitting a little bit here, but as long as they stay focused, the comms are locked in. This is a great start for the Condors, and a little bit battle out in that jungle here, and we are going to see another one of our opponents drop down. Has map. Watch out. Lazaro and Lopachinski are on your butt.
Oh yeah, the dynamic duo there as Lopachinski has really been highly effective and sticking to more of that bot lane and bottom middle, as I don't think I've seen Lopachinski come over and help top, and it doesn't look like Karami needs the help as they're both at low HP, and Karami sends out a clone and fools Wazek and gets the kill again.
This is exactly what we wanted. Again, we didn't want to have Lopachinski having to deal with that top lane as much as he did in that last matchup. So putting Karami up there was the biggest change they could have made, and the best change clearly that they could have made.
It's working out, and Lazaro is holding his own at mid, off position for him, but he's looking comfortable in the spot, pushing back. Who is that? Pushing back Hensap of the other team all the way to his own tower. Yeah, like, terrific stuff there as we get to see some of the guys there in the jungle taking out, I'm pretty sure that's one of the drakes or one of the dragons. Yes, the ocean drake, and so that's going to mean health back on damage for the Condors, and that's where that snowballing effect comes from.
And that's massive, because to get this stuff early on, to get a couple kills early on and still not drop one yourself, massive. A little damage on towers too. Just watch out. We do have Karami getting a poke just a little bit on that top lane, but smart back off from him.
Oklahoma does pick up the Void Grubs, which does give them a little bit of an opportunity to get back into this one. Karami is definitely going to have a lot of pressure on him to keep up with the work that he is doing.
You see it again. The fact that Wazek, just a strong player in game number 1, already at 2 deaths, feeling the pressure from Karami is a wonderful look for the Condors.
As a lot of big fights here actually going the Condors' way, as it looks like Wazek has switched to mid now, as they didn't like the Wazek and Karami matchup. They want to keep Wazek on Lazaro, and it looks like Oakland's made a change on the fly.
Well, the big thing is, if we can take this map, how's that going to change in the next one here? A lot of pressure down in that bot lane. Can we snake one of them? Shaggy managing to get away, and another battle on top lane. It's Lopachinski and Lazaro going to help out on the top there. Hensap barely making it out.
And Reginald going down on the Conestoga Condor side on that bot lane. Shaggy and Bully making the return there, as they did not have the minions required to push fully into the tower, as coming back over will be Cromant and the Reginald. But yeah, still Hensap on low HP at top lane. And of course, we've seen a rotation fully from both sides. Lazaro's gone back to top lane.
I love this,
Hensap's on top lane too, so both Karami and Wazek on the middle now.
Very interesting. I think it was Wazek's like, I got to get away from this Karami guy. Let me back at Lazaro. But yeah, that's an interesting swap up between the lanes mid-game, and this shows the adaptability of both squads.
Oh, exactly, and Conestoga is forcing OKU to change up their strategies, which means that they're obviously doing something right here, as the panic kind of setting in. The kills are 3-1 in the Conestoga favor.
Karami back to top lane. This was just a little bit of a temp switch here.
waiting for the tower to get the damage off so he can get the final hit on the minions, prioritizing the gold for Conestoga because it has been neck and neck throughout this entire matchup as we are almost both at 14k gold, and this has been a huge change of pace from the other game. Actually, we did have a good first 9 minutes in that first game, so it's going to be crucial to hold on to what we have now.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also felt like we weren't doing this well here, but unfortunately, we're losing another team fight down low, and that's where Loch Pachinsi's going to have to start supporting, it seems, because that bot lane starting to feel a little bit of pressure from those opponents.
Yeah, Shaggy and Bully You, something has happened between those two that clicked in their strategy here, as we've seen Reginald go down a couple of times and Corm losing as well in that team fight, as they're getting huge damage on in the tower, and it looks like Oklahoma might be getting the first tower of the game.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Well, we have a back and forth at mid. Another battle here. Condors see if they can snake out one. Hensap getting caught out maybe, and they might be able to clean him up. They'll have to back off though, so Bensap doesn't manage to snake them into a battle they don't want to get involved in. And there it is. Wazek hanging out and hiding. Ooh, they're still being pulled back a little bit though. They don't know if they want to get involved.
They have the man advantage, but they don't have the map advantage at all right now. Four members of Conestoga all in that jungle area. Coming over to mid as Karami wants some more. He is a magic ranged person, typically the champions that he will play, so he has a good chance here to do some long-term damage. And do remember, we got the Ocean Drake, so every piece of damage we deal is a small amount of damage that we will heal.
No, that was good. It doesn't feel we get pushed too strong. I mean, obviously bot lane is starting to feel a bit of that pressure now, which could be problematic going forward if their ADC can get strong and scale nice.
The gold disparity is rising for the Oklahoma squad. They are up about 1.5k in the gold department right now. Conestoga's going to have to keep their eye on that and see what they can do to prioritize getting back in that realm.
Again, you might be right on that early game being something the Condors have locked in, but once they start stretching into mid, it feels like they start to lose their footing a little.
Yeah, as we see three members of Conestoga in that mid lane, all of them doing damage there. It looks like that's one of the Void creatures, as whoever gets the last hit is the team that gets credit, and it does go to the blue side. That's the Amumu getting the kill on that. Ben Snap getting the Void grubs for Oklahoma U, and they've now picked up 2 of those jungle objectives to only the Conestoga's one, so Conestoga's definitely going to have their backs against the wall as they look to come back in this one.
Stacking a couple around mid, just to see if they can put a little bit more pressure on that tower at mid, because they've already got that bot lane locked down. So unfortunately, that could turn into a steamroll if the Condors aren't aware of shutting that down.
Yeah, they've just got to stay in it. They can't take their foot off the gas pedal one bit, and they have to believe that they can do it. But right now, the blue team, Oklahoma U, taking out another Drake, and there it is. This is going to be huge for Conestoga, where how they can react to this and how they can recover, as this is going to be where all the pressure is now on. There's Bully You and Shaggy moving from bottom lane up to middle, as Lopachinsi fighting 2 members in jungle, and 2 more members of Oklahoma U are going to be trying to come over to help, as a lot is going to be happening in this mid-bottom jungle.
Well, this could be problematic too, because the Hex Tech reducing the cooldowns of the opponent's abilities, that it's going to allow their DPS to rise a little bit coming forward. So the Condors have to be a little bit careful about where they're positioned, and they try not to get ganked, but those towers at mid likely going to go down, and this is where that Hex Tech is going to be utilized.
Yeah, but the minions, losing all of them is the Oklahoma squad, and coming back for Conestoga, very big here, as they don't lose the tower, thank goodness. But yeah, backs against the wall, is this is going to be close. If they can hold on, they do have the kill lead still, and that's going to be kind of the number to look for. As
oh, wow, the jump. This is going to be intense. Okay, this is probably going to be problematic for us if that third comes in. There it is. Bensap making his way in, and Bully You now is going to just drop a few Lopachinski Gonzo. The whole squad gets involved. That's exactly what I was worried about. Condors, please be safe, but that tower likely lost.
Yeah, all 5 of them in the middle lane there. Conestoga having to retreat, but there's Karami just trying to get some little damage on there. If he could pick up a trade on Wysek in particular, they could get themselves in a little bit nicer of a position, but that mid tower it's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah. No, and this was the problem. I mean, the Condors had to utilize their abilities, right? And I think that's what Oakland was waiting for. I mean, they know that the Condors wouldn't be able to get those abilities back as fast as them, so they wait for them to utilize it, hop on, whole squad jumps mid, and drops the team. Now the remaining players really can't do much.
Yeah, having to spread out and kind of cover other bases as Oakland picking up the kill lead and picking up a resounding gold lead too. Conestoga's really going to have to play catch up here.
Yeah.
And Karami, he's the guy you want to do that as he's taking back over for top lane. And if Conestoga can figure out what to do here, either bottom or top lane, getting some towers down.
Out. Yeah, Lazaro, you always feel that anticipation. When is that other bot player going to hop out of the fog of war and attack? But a little bit of damage on that bot tower. That's not too shabby there. But it is, again, Oakland starting to farm a lot of these jungle objectives.
Rift Herald going down now too, and this is where we could see a lot of snowballing effects take place, like you were mentioning in the first game. I'm not sure what Conestoga is going to be able to do here, as they're losing the opportunity to even get a lot of these mid-bosses down.
And unfortunately, again, that mid-game starting feels a little bit weaker, but it doesn't feel like it's quite the exact snowball that we saw in the last one. It doesn't feel like a cascading effect. It definitely feels like a wall is a little bit in front of us, but it doesn't feel insurmountable. I mean, at this point, we're only seeing a 2K gold lead, which means the Condors aren't struggling too far behind.
It definitely feels like the game has slowed down a bit as they've been able to strategize more, as there's Hensap taking lots and lots of damage there from Lazaro, but losing out on the minions and most likely losing out on the kill opportunity, but pushing them back big time there as Conestoga, as they got Corm and the Reginald switching over to that mid lane. And that's been a concept now for probably the last like 3 or 4 minutes, where they've sent 2 people at that mid lane. And Lazaro has done a lot of damage on the bottom lane, and Karami again up top trying to counter Wazek.
Well, he'll come back a little bit stronger, probably going back to buy, and he'll leave that bot lane alone for just a few moments here, as we do see Crom working the mid lane, but he does have 2 opponents sitting there waiting to shark. At least the Condors are starting to work those jungle objectives.
Exactly, as this is not the first one they've gone in the last little bit, as coming in to try to counter that is Bensap, but we do have 2 Conestoga members over there. Tagging them with them is Bensap and the Reginald in a one-on-one boxing match here, but Hensap coming over to give some support and bully you as well. This is not looking good. The Reginald going down to Bensap, and no support available, as potentially the smart decision getting out of the fight and not sacrificing any more Condors.
Well, again, that split up definitely hurting the Condors, as the 2 that were together were no longer. And once you saw that solo, the rest of the Oakland players decided to dive. But I'm glad to see that bot at least is still locking in and holding focus, trying to make that pushback, and it's not being overwhelmed.
We have not seen any major team fights, it feels like, as that was the biggest fight I feel like we've had, and that was a 4v1. As only the Reginald going down, Conestoga keeping 4 members alive, keeping 4 members able to continue farming gold and continue pushing forward. Smart decisions being made here, as they're trying to more play the war of attrition, it seems like. And only 2K back in gold at this point, much better than the first game.
Oh, this could be one of those fights you're talking about, though. And as we do see the Condors just get absolutely smothered as they try to make it out, Reginald cannot do so. And a 2-piece.
Yeah,
Oakland.
And as you mentioned, I do have the caster curse, it seems like, as the moment we get a team fight, the moment it doesn't go in our favor, but maintaining 3 members on the board, Conestoga not fully out of it, thank goodness.
It does feel like we're in this for a little bit longer, though, but as you mentioned before, I think the big thing is that we're not losing all 5 players at once. We're not getting team wiped. We're keeping those fights spread out a little bit more. When we are losing players, it's generally 2 at a time. So the other 3 players are still able to work the rest of them out.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest difference between this and the first match, is it looks like a red tower is going to go down, and the blue team has gotten another Drake, as things not looking up for Conestoga right now. That mid lane is getting pushed extremely hard, as I feel like 3 different rotations of players have gone in there, as here's Karami and Hensap fighting up top. It's typically a situation you like for them, but both of them entering a channel at the exact same time.
Yeah, no, they want to back out. They'll give a little bit of space, but after those team wins, they're probably in a position to start building up, and they're going to come back a little bit stronger, which could be problematic for the Condors, but they're also going to make their way back into the battle. Again, that bot lane evened out almost, and The thing is, though, you do lose your tower mid, and it feels like, okay, we're making a little progress in this area. Then you start, making progress here, but you start losing progress in another area.
Yeah, exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the top lane, neither team losing a tower yet. As we're actually getting into a fight here, Karami ducks out of there real quick, as that is a 3v1. As the communication of this Oakland squad has been on point.
Yeah. Karami hiding out, knowing that the rest of the players are coming in. This is the thing. They're playing a lot smarter in the battles that they're engaging in, but it looks like we might have another engagement going on right now, and we are going to lose another player. Lopachinski is taken out.
If you look at the other squad there, Bulliu has 7 kills as the Reginald also going down. Bulliu again, 8 kills in 20 minutes in this one so far, as Conestoga losing 2 members of their team again. Not what you want to see.
Yeah, no, not what you want to see at all.
Yep.
This is
yeah,
problematic, and again, those jungle objectives still going into the hands of Oakland, and another battle looks like it might be lost for us. Corm, good night.
Bulliu, calm down, sir, please. 10 kills in 20 minutes as the red turret going down, and this is the epitome of backs against the wall, cinder blocks on the chest. You can't breathe.
Well, that's the big thing about a strong early bot lane for them. Bulliu was hanging out down there, getting those early kills, getting that scaling going on, and the second that happens, you start to feel that pressure a little bit too much, and the Condors are starting to see the snowball. They're pushing a little bit longer into the series, so, I mean, adjustments they made were working really well. We saw some of those adjustments pretty clearly, especially with their positioning, but it still feels like overall Oakland might have a couple of the stronger plays on their hand.
Yeah, and the goal disparity, 5.5K difference between the two teams. Something that we did get told by Lopachinski before the game is that oftentimes in very high level league, the team that dies more can still win the game. It does not mean that it's not like Valorant, it's not like a shooter where the kills are the game. They can die a whole bunch and still get back into this one. It's just going to be a test of resilience for the Condors.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be really working the objectives for them, too. I mean, you want to start getting that gold diff back so you can start building your character, but at this point, I'm not sure if it's going to happen. With Zek taking out Lopachinski, the battle's still happening. Reginald is not going to be able to get away. Bulliu is back. Stop telling us that game. We know who's legendary at this point, and Lazaro is going to get caught off by Wizek as well.
Yeah, and there's the clear difference between having a top 100 player as he's able to get those kills easy, but Corm coming back and making up a bit there as Conestoga, losing 3 members to the one of Oklahoma U, unfortunately. Getting this down for Oklahoma is going to be big for deciding the game.
The big thing this is going to allow them to do, they're already scaled up really nicely. They're winning the team fights. Now their lanes are just going to push harder, and that pressure is going to feel overwhelming from the Condors. I really am not sure how they're going to be able to answer this back.
Yeah, maybe a trick play, maybe throwing all strategy out and doing something completely unique is what's needed, as Ben Sapp killing Karami, as another red turret going down, everything crumbling down for the Conestoga side.
Yeah, I feel like the Baron wasn't even necessary at this point. It was more of just a, let's secure this, let's make this happen faster. Regardless of Baron, they probably would have pushed these lanes maybe a little 5 minutes slower, but I think the end result would have been the same.
Yeah, and taking out the Brenda Shore denies Conestoga from taking it out and mounting a super late comeback, and now it looks like a lot of hope is lost as Conestoga is just going to be holding on for dear life here in the final minutes of this game, and if they can pull a comeback out, it will be one of the most impressive things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and here's the part of the commentary where if we knew a little bit more about the items and stuff of the game, that we would start putting a little analysis in on what their possible comeback chances were and what surprises they could pull out. But we're not going to do that because we don't have that knowledge.
We don't quite know. We do know about the power of friendship and sticking together and
that's a real
not
mechanic.
Giving up on each other. Yeah.
The good old mechanic they added in last week's patch of the power of friendship.
Of course. I didn't read the patch notes, so I'm glad you're filling me in on this.
You're welcome.
Entering the Nexus, taking out the turrets is the blue
next.
team.
Yeah. Once those inhibitors go down, it feels like it's all but over at that point. Again, that Baron helping those lanes stay a little bit strong, and Condors down the other side of the map trying to take a battle on themselves. We'll see if maybe they could at least take out one, but that base is going to be difficult to hold
And
if they can't win that battle down there quick.
At least trying to get one kill before the game ends here, as Mazak and Hesnap in a big fight with Lopachinski and Lazaro, and still damage going down. The Reginald taking huge health as Ben Sapp also on a killing spree for the OKU squad, but hey, they're taking the fight in the top lane
Channel
there.
back.
Conestoga, a little more victory before this one
Yeah.
as the Nexus going down. Lopachinski getting a late kill on Wazek and Lazaro getting a kill on Hensap.
I think what their plan was to win that fight down there a little bit quicker than it was, so that they could channel back and try to take the fight at base. But that battle took them just a little bit too long to take out, to be able to go back and support the boys in base.
Yeah, and I mean, step one of the plan did pay out, but yes, not able to channel back, not able to give support at the Nexus as it went down. And the boys did put up a very good battle, but just not enough, as Oakland's proving why they are the last, well, not last remaining, but one of the last 2 remaining undefeated teams.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Someone had to lose this, right? You just hope that it wasn't as intense as it was. There was a little bit of a stronger pull, I think, from the Condors in that last map.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it looked better. There was still, even when they started losing control of the map, there were still some small, brilliant moments. Even that call to take that battle in the bottom, top lane on the opponent's side, on Oakland's side, and then try to channel back and win the battle was like a fun call. Their heads were in the game. It just, the timing of it was not on.
Well, exactly. That's the positive takeaway you could take from the game, is that they never once gave up. And while it did seem like their backs were against the wall, it never did seem like they were fully out of it.
Yeah.
And that's something that they could take and they can work on, and they could see, what did we do good? And I think a big difference that they made is not all dying as a team, and that was what extended the game an additional 5 to 7 minutes.
I think that I also really like the swap out on Wazek's opponent there to make sure that Karami was the one facing him down, and maybe if we had seen that in the first snap, it would have been different as well. But it's really hard to say. But they made some adjustments that looked fun, that looked like they definitely were on the right path. But there's still a lot of more work that the squad needs to do, and they'll be talking that over.
Exactly, and that's what comes with having 2 new members joining the team, where they did play well, but of course, it seems like the Oakland team had the comms to match us and to prevail in the end. It seems like every single fight never became a one-on-one other than the early portions. And Conestoga is a terrific one-on-one dueling team. And what happened a lot of the times is that the numbers game just never once went in their favor.
Well, that is going to be the Condors with a defeat, as they're now 2-1 in the league, which is still not bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
very respectable.
They still have a lot of other matches that will be coming their way that they can continue to extend that up into, I believe their 7-1 would be their best score that they could attain now with 9 teams in their grouping here. So sure, it won't be an 8-0, but a 7-1, that ain't too shabby either if they can lock in.
And on paper, we look like a good team, and we look like we could go against anybody and at least give them a good fight. And so I do want to thank our partners here for the Condors Esports. We have the Conestoga School itself, the Conestoga Students Incorporated,
CSI.
6 Sigma, and Nike. And we want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in and dealing with our newbiness to League of Legends.
Very kind
we
of you
thank
guys.
you.
Very kind of you.
We will see you guys. I will be back tomorrow night for some more Condors Esports action.